Chatterbox UK, we're just lucky enough to, and she's a bit behind again. And now on Chatterbox UK, we're just lucky enough to welcome Thomas Cameron. Thomas, hello, how are you?
Hello, Thomas.
Hello there, I'm great. How's things with you?
We're good. Things good with you, Sue?
Well, very good,
cool.
Good news.
Let's start at the beginning, always a good place. So this wonderful, wonderful version of What a Wonderful World we just heard, but fill in the missing steps of as Thomas Cameron as a child and how you got to recording that. There's a few big steps there. Fill us in a bit, please. Give us an idea.
Of course, yeah. No, it all started, I think the earliest memory for me really is hearing music on the radio. And I've heard that quite a lot speaking to other people that they've said that kind of thing. And the radio was always on. I'm so lucky that my parents always had music on around the house. And I used to go and get the bus to go to school. Mum used to drive me to go to the bus. And without fail, we would listen to the radio together and we would sing and we'd kind of harmonize, sing out of tune, you know, that kind of thing, just experimenting with our singing. And that was really the first time where I thought, I love singing. Like, I just love making a sound, singing, harmonizing. And that was when I kind of realized I loved it. And then I started trying to get into it a little bit more. And it was at school, actually, that I was in year 6. And the drama teacher, she was one of the teachers, but she also did the production at the end of the year. And she came up to me and she was like, do you think, you know, if you could really knuckle down and focus for the next couple of weeks at school, because I like to say I was a little bit distracted at school. That's my way of saying it, you know. She said, you can have the part of Joseph because we're doing Joseph. So I was, you know, obviously the best behaved child ever to grace the school. and I got the part of Joseph, which was amazing. And that was my first experience of performing a musical and performing to people, really, you know, to performing to parents and pupils. And I just got the bug from there. And ever since that, I've been singing and singing and singing. And I was doing every show at the school, every gig, everything possible. I ended up hosting the shows as well and introducing my friends at the school to do their music and stuff like that. And then it came the point when I sort of started to perform in public, like I do now. I was about 13 years old, and my mum took me to see Paloma Faith, which is not quite the kind of music you'd expect me to talk about as an inspiration. But my mum was a huge fan, and she took me to see her one night after school. And I can remember being really tired, really grumpy, because you know how tough life is as a 13-year-old. And we went down there, and we went to Plymouth Pavilions, which is a big venue for us down here, and we went and saw the show, and I can remember just sort of waiting, thinking, oh, what's going on? And then this lady just appeared from like in between these black curtains. It was absolutely fascinating. And she came out with these massive gold paddles, crazy hair. You can imagine with Paloma Faith, some massive headpiece on, and started singing. And it was literally just her and this track to start with. And I was absolutely mesmerized and just blown away by her. And that was when I thought, right, from that moment, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be up on that stage. I want to be performing. And literally from there, I bought myself my own speaker, saved up and bought my own microphone. And I was just singing everywhere. And this was about 13, 14 years old. I was doing everything I could locally. And then from there, it just grew really and got asked to do more and more things. And I'm just lucky to have done some really cool things. And it's all Paloma Faith's fault, really, that you have to speak to me today.
That's it. That's fantastic. Now, What a Wonderful World, I don't believe is your first recording at all. So tell us about your earlier recordings that you've done. I see there was a first album in 2018. Give us a bit of a picture of that era, please, a couple of 3 years back.
Yeah, absolutely. So it came to a point when I was leaving school, leaving college, and I was thinking, what am I going to do now? And I wanted to record some music, and a producer actually picked up on my voice and said they really liked what I did. And he said, oh no, we could do an album. And I said, absolutely, would love to do an album. And I got taken into the studio to do that album that you talked about in 2018, which was an amazing experience. My first album, got to work with some amazing musicians and recorded just songs that meant a lot to me, which was really important as well. So just talk about songs that I maybe have really enjoyed as a kid, or songs that other people in my family like, that kind of thing. And we recorded that album and released that. And we just did it as physical copies only, took it on tour with us. And that was lovely. And it was like an exclusive. And then when it came to lockdown, we thought, well, I'm not on tour anymore. And I can't, sell the albums and let people have the albums on tour. So that's when it sort of changed to releasing online. And we thought, right, this is the time to release it to the wider public as well. And then all of the singles, I took about 3 or 4 singles from that album and released them to the online platforms. And then it just went down really well. And just hence why I think we're sort of on number 6 or number 7 now, singles released online during lockdown. So that was kind of how it started, really. It was a really weird like kind of thing you see on Britain's Got Talent or whatever, you know, where somebody just messaged and said, I really like your voice, I'd like to produce an album. And then literally, skip a couple of weeks and I was in the studio in this I was in Peter Gabriel's studio, which was such an incredible experience. So it was a bit of is this actually happening or am I just making this up? You know?
It looks it's quite impressive so far. I see it looks like this year. No, go back to 2020, actually. It looks as though you've had 3 single releases so far, up to now, and you've had 3 number ones on the Amazon Broadway Hot Releases and Bestsellers. That's correct, is it? 3 number ones on that chart?
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's gone up more now because I think, like I said, it was 6, all 6. Yeah, the 6 singles now that have gone out since that. And I'm so grateful for them to go up to, the top of the Broadway chart on Amazon, and all of them went to top 10 in iTunes as well. It was just unbelievable. So just to get that reaction, it's not what I expected at all. I thought I'd release it and a few people might enjoy it and listen, but I was just being so grateful. Everybody's been amazing, and just really, I think it's been nice because it's been such a tough time. It's been providing music for people to listen to, and they've been supporting me, and it's just been an amazing community. I've loved it.
Fantastic. And also, I will mention it actually, I see that you have your own chat show, and a lot of, and that's on Plymouth Ocean City Radio.
Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. You chat to celebrity guests about their career to date. In fact, many of them we've interviewed already. So Glenn Matlock of the Sex Pistols, Lisbeth Boney M, Cheryl Baker, Chesney Hawkes, had a great chat with him, didn't we? Steve Norman of Spandau Ballet, Milton McDonald of ELO. Fantastic. So I'm sure you get as much out of that chat show as we do doing ours. And
absolutely. Yeah, no, and I think it was a thing for lockdown, like we talked about, wasn't it? Yeah, before we recorded, just saying, how it was, it's an amazing thing for just being able to still communicate during the time when we couldn't actually be together, So just the powers of technology, like we are now, sat here together talking, and just thought, we're all sat at home. There's so many colleagues that I know that I'm normally on tour, they're normally on tour, but we're both at home wherever we are. So let's just get together and talk and share it so people can be a fly on the wall of the conversations we're having, So it's been, amazing, and just so grateful to be able to catch up with such amazing people and talk to them.
Absolutely. Now I see here, you're a Classical Brit Awards nominee. Is that recent or a couple of years for you? Tell us about that, please.
Yeah, that was before. So say it feels recent, but of course the pandemic's been so long now. Yeah. I think that I think recent still counts though, because we're not counting those couple of years, are we? But yeah, that happened at similar time to I recorded the album. I had just finished the recording; it hadn't even been released, and I put out the first single and put the video out, and it was incredible. I got an email from the Brit Awards. So it's ITV that do that, and there hasn't been another Brit Awards since that ceremony, the 2018 ceremony, because of it's normally every other year, and then what happened, so it hasn't happened again. But that was incredible to receive that, and I sent in some music from the album that I recorded, and then got invited up to the Royal Albert Hall for the ceremony and to be nominated. It was right at the start of everything starting for me, and it was a huge honor, really was, and to get to talk to some amazing people that are in the same field as me, so Alan Jones and Sibrin Tefel and people like that to just talk to, and they're so encouraging, and so early on that was huge for me to really give me a push in the right direction,
Sure. Now, I believe you independently release your alternative singles anyway, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
So you are your own boss when it comes to what song you think's going to suit your voice best, I take it.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's so important as well. And it's what I love doing is just asking people that follow me and enjoy my music what they want to hear, what they want to me record, because I'll do live shows or I'll put a clip online and everybody's like, right, this should be on the next album. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a great point. If you're the guys that are going to listen to it, and it just makes sense, doesn't it, for them to, if they enjoy it, and obviously I enjoy what I sing, then it makes complete sense to follow their lead on that, doesn't it?
Sure, you've done an amazing job on What a Wonderful World, and
thank you.
It really, you've made, I think the wording is you've made it your own. It's so different. I love Satchmo, but it's so different. In fact, I am most jealous of my father. He's 94 now, and he saw Louis Armstrong live in the town where we are now, St. Leonard's.
No way.
In 1937, saw him live at the Regal. How jealous did I feel?
Yeah, and me now. That is there. That must have been something else. What an experience to see
Yeah,
that.
he
Yeah, what a legend.
still remembers it and still talks of it. So
Yeah, I'm
right,
sure.
lovely that is. Now,
Wow.
what a
comment on the picture, please?
what a comment on
The picture you've got. I think it's for the song "Wonderful World." When you're sat like that, and you're doing that pose.
Yeah.
That is very catchy. That stands out. So if people see that in the shop on the covers, it's going to stand out because the expression you're using.
Yeah.
It's very.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely. And I think the yellow background helps as well, doesn't it? It grabs it a little bit more.
Yeah, I like it. Very good.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Few good photos there, actually.
Some very, well, they're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get to work with some amazing people. Yeah, really talented.
So, Thomas, what is next for you? I mean, obviously, we want to get this pushed and downloads and sold as many as we can. So, what's next for you? There's another album coming, I believe.
Absolutely, yeah. So the plan was I was meant to be in Dublin. So I spent a lot of time in Ireland. My manager's Irish, and I love going over there and performing live quite regularly. But I was meant to be over there in Dublin recording an album. But again, obvious situation and flying and things like that is just so tricky at the moment. So that's been delayed. But yeah, that is the plan, is to get another album. Absolutely. It's just we're itching to do it. But I think when it happens, it will be even more enjoyable, because it's been so long. And just getting back on the road as well. I've started off my tour a lot smaller than it would normally be, but yeah, touring in the UK, and I was on the Isle of Wight a couple of weeks ago, which was lovely, just to kick off with a few shows, and yeah, just starting to get back on the road a little bit more.
Sure, and I see that we still have some dates left on the tour as it stands at the moment.
Yes.
29th of August, Shaftesbury Arts Centre, 4th of September, Salford Arts Centre, and then you're back at the Shaftesbury Arts Centre on the 30th of October.
Yes, yeah, no, Shaftesbury Arts Centre. Yeah, yeah. No, I love going to Shaftesbury. It was so amazing support there. But yeah, hopefully, normally it's about a 20, 30 date tour. So obviously it's very different at the moment. But sure. I'm hoping that just getting back on the road and getting more music out there and developing the chat show a little bit more as well, and seeing people seem to be really enjoying it, which is great fun.
And what you do find, because we've done this a while now, what we do find is that you start getting approached by promoters and that, sometimes some quite famous people. I'd say about half of our people, they approach us now, don't they, I think?
Yes.
About half. So in 6 months. So there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it really is.
Somebody rings up and, or it was an email actually, just on Saturday. They said, yes, would you be interested in interviewing so-and-so? And I'd never say until the interview's taken place, but this so-and-so person was the second rock and roll star to sing on a stage after Bill Haley and his comments. So this person was the next one after that.
Wow.
5 massive top 10 hits in the 50s alone. And you start thinking, do we want to interview them? What?
Yeah.
Obviously,
you don't even have to ask the question. No, absolutely. Yeah. And what I've loved about it as well, it's like colleagues as well for me, just people that I've been lucky enough to work with or record with or tour with. And it's just nice to be able to catch up, but let people kind of just hear us talking about memories, because I think that's what's really tricky at the moment, isn't it? It's just you can kind of forget all of the amazing times and the amazing things that have happened because you're stuck at home and thinking, it's not, we're not doing what we should be. But actually, if you think about the memories, it's quite nice to trigger those again, isn't it, with your guests?
People will always thank goodness for the memories, really, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Thomas, how long have you been doing your chat show?
I have been doing it. That is a great question. The chat show I started in the first lockdown. So just the Facebooks, I do it on Facebook. My Facebook page is the video show. I've been doing that for about a year now, probably. Just chatting, which is scary thinking that because it's gone so quickly. But yeah, the radio show was only this year, so a few months ago. But it feels like a long time already. The time's flying by.
We will look out for you anyway, don't worry. Now,
thank you.
I'm assuming you have a website, so would you like to tell us about that and how people can find you, please?
Absolutely, yes. So my website is www.thomascamerontenor.com. So that's got all of the tour dates and ticket links and things like that. But also I'm really active on social media as well, which seems to be the place at the moment, doesn't it? So Facebook and Instagram always got the shows and videos of me singing and pictures of me on tour. People seem to like that. See where I'm popping up around the country and singing. So yeah, that's you can find it, and all my music obviously is on the usual major platforms that you get your music.
I take it that there are links to all your social media on the website. I take it that's
yes, yeah, you can. So yeah, probably the website's got everything, isn't it? The best place to go, and you can go from it all from there. Yeah.
Okay, and What a Wonderful World by Thomas Cameron, is already out. It's already available. And
It is, yes.
well, all platforms. So yes, have a look at Thomas Cameron's website, please, everybody, and look for www.thomascamerontenor.com. Once again, www.thomascamerontenor.com. Thomas, we've really it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. No, honestly, it's been lovely.
Sorry, save me wave my hand in the air.
I don't mind editing. Go on.
I love that.
Sorry, that's why I call it Chatterbox, as you can tell. Like
Yeah, I love that.
It's a question. Because you get these nice, your voice is very, very good. Do you have to be careful not to strain it, if that makes sense? You have to be very careful with your voice.
Yeah, it's definitely got to look after it. I think that's so important. So things like warming up as well, sometimes it's overlooked, isn't it? But making sure that you're well warmed up for shows and not overdoing it as well, because it's hard not to just want to do, right, I'll do, 5 million shows in 2 days. You know, it's so tempting, isn't it? So yeah, you've really got to look after it as well, and it can be, especially because I've always had to be careful, especially because I was lucky to start quite young singing this style of music. I was lucky to have vocal coaches to really guide me, because singing something quite, say a full opera or full classical song, 18 years old, your voice is like, a male's voice doesn't mature until 36 fully. So so it's you've got to be careful not to push it too far if it's not ready, because it's you've got to look after your instrument. That's a great question. It's something I don't normally talk about very much. It's nice.
For me, and I wanted to ask, and
do
you have to train it every day, or?
It's always, I think singing, if you can sing every day, I always sing every day anyway. It doesn't mean it has to be a full rehearsal but just singing regularly, because you do notice, I noticed after getting back to this on stage, after not being on stage for 18 months, you suddenly realize, oh, blimey, Mike, you just get out of breath a lot quicker as well, because it's just like being a sports person, I guess. I imagine if they haven't trained for months and then they try and do it, they will notice a huge difference. So always got to keep that stamina up. It's really important. And you notice if you're on a run of shows, I always do, I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but say I have a tour where it's a couple of weeks where it's most days, you're really on top form, because you feel, you're really warmed up, you're at the peak, and then because if you have a few weeks off, you kind of got to get back into it again, so absolutely, I think singing every day is really important.
No, thank you for answering the questions.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thomas Cameron, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
I hope to catch you again sometime.
Yes, that would be lovely. Thank you. And take care of yourselves, won't you?
Cheers. Bye-bye.